Welcome to ILC Tamil Radio, Behind Closed Doors. On the 18th of May 2009, the world witnessed one of the darkest chapters of the 21st century, the final massacre at Mullivaikal in the island of northern Sri Lanka, where tens of thousands of Tamil civilians were killed in what many describe as an act of genocide. Over 3,000 Tamil civilians had been trapped in the government-designated no-fire zones, only to be subjected to relentless shelling by Sri Lankan military forces. The tragedy sent shockwaves across the globe, including to Australia's capital Canberra, where more than 2,000 people gathered outside the federal parliament demanding an end to the offensive, with members of parliament stepping forward to address the crowd and acknowledge the suffering of the Tamil people. An Australian Senator, David Sawbridge, would later tell the Senate the Tamil genocide didn't just happen on one day in 2009, but has happened for decades and continues. A sobering reminder that the pursuit of truth, justice, and recognition for Tamil community remains very much alive today. To discuss an exhibition held in Canberra, Australia just this past week, I'm joined by a lawyer, Renuka Inpakumar, spokesperson for the Tamil Refugee Council. Welcome to ILC Tamil Radio Behind Closed Doors, Renuka.
Thank you.
Please tell me more about the exhibition held a few days ago.
So Tamil Refugee Council decided to have an exhibition which showcases the genocidal actions that people of Tamil have faced from the Sri Lankan state from 1948 to 2026. So we showcased almost 600 boards as we had only limited capacity, but we actually have 1,750 boards altogether of all the acts of genocide. And so we wanted to showcase the boards that depict mass graves and forced disappearances as the main pivotal points of the ongoing genocide that people of Tamil are facing. And from that, we had made a book, and within that book, it explains the legal definition of genocide and how we fit that definition, and we were able to provide that information to various embassies and various diplomats, and so we were able to showcase this exhibition inside the parliament, within the policymakers, and within the room of change makers within Australia.
So, many people think of genocide as a single event frozen in time, but you have spoken about the Tamil genocide as something ongoing. Mm-hmm. Can you help our listeners understand what that means and why May 18, 2009 is not simply a date in the past?
Mm-hmm. So May 18, 2009, we can say it was the end of the peak of the genocide, but the genocide is ongoing because we have seen it from 1948 to now. And it is ongoing because there are many instances that fit the legal definition of genocide, such as erasing an identity. We can see that with, building structures happening, archaeology departments coming in within the Tamil land and removing religious identities, cultural identities. We're even witnessing now that there is over 3,500 days of ongoing protest with the mothers and fathers who are fighting to see where their enforced disappeared loved ones. It doesn't matter who's in power. It doesn't matter whether it's a leftist or rightist government. The Sri Lankan state has a genocidal institution within all frameworks of Sri Lanka, and that's why this genocide is ongoing. The Tamil people are not able to live peacefully. We're seeing education systems being ruined, our language being taken away, our land is slowly being taken away, and the children are being forced to never be able to speak the truth because we're having draconian legislation such as the Prevention of Terrorism Act, which, shuts down any individual willing to speak up against the Tamil genocide. And we're seeing youth, who are fighting constantly, being told to be quiet. They're taken into prison. The political prisoners are not being released. These are all acts of an ongoing genocide. There's no such thing as civil war. This is an ongoing genocide, and we're being quietened, we're being shut down, we're being told not to use that word. And that's why this exhibition was so important, to explain that it is an ongoing genocide that we're facing. And it's been over 76 years of ongoing genocide.
And talking about the past alongside the present, when we talk about Tamil today, why is it so important that we don't separate the present reality from the historical suffering, and what gets lost when we do?
So when we're talking about the present, we definitely have to link with the past. You know, May 18th, 2009 was such a pivotal moment in our history where people thought that that was it, that there was no such thing as Tamil Elam and there was no such thing as the form of liberation. So when we're talking about the present with what's happening now, we have to link with what had happened, that these are all steps into what is happening now. We had the enforced disappearances because of May 18th, 2009. The Prevention of Terrorism Act worsened after May 18th, 2009. May 18th, 2009 is the peak. May was the peak of the genocide, the highest point where people were herded into no-fire zones, shelled numerous times, hospitals being constantly bombarded with artillery shells and phosphorus bombs. And now, with the present time, you can say we're being bombarded with various legislations, incorrect terminology that reconciliation is happening, how a leftist government is in power, but they are the sole reason why 2009 occurred. And we're having so much evidence being released publicly in the public eye, but it's being diminished because of the ongoing genocide. The evidence that's being portrayed within international media is just a photographic evidence of May 2009. That was just a practice for all international states to know how to commit genocide. That's why it's so important that we show that the present is linked to the past. We can't forget the past and move on. The present is so vital to continue to talk about the past. That's why our exhibition showcased from 2009 to now. And we actually had it where 2009 was on the left and 2026 was on the right, to show the links between both.
Taking this course inside the walls of Parliament House in Canberra is a powerful, right? And deliberate choices from your side. So what's the significance of this decision? What were you hoping the members of Parliament would hear and understand and act upon?
It definitely was a change from what we normally witness, is where we always keep our stories hidden within ourselves. As a youth, I've seen that since I was young, is that our stories are within ourselves, is we're not able to break that fourth wall and enter into actually exposing the Parliament that they were responsible of what happened in May 18th, 2009. We can't hide that. We can't be ignorant. We can't play this whole thing where we have to be diplomatic. By being diplomatic, it isn't meaning to, continuously invite politicians and not tell them the truth. You invite politicians and we have to be able to tell them the truth and be open and be like, this is what happened in 2009. This is what happened from 2009 to now. Your government was responsible for this, this, and this. So the board didn't just portray what was happening in Tamil. We also portrayed the various governments and various international state actors that were responsible for the ongoing genocide. I had boards that explained what Australia was responsible with, the draconian refugee legislation that they placed, or how they provided drones to the Sri Lankan state. It showcased what UK has done. It showcased what Canada, America, everyone has done. And so by having that, and what made this exhibition very eye-opening was I ensured that there were eyewitnesses in that room. So they were able to tell the politicians that entered, this is how I feel. And it was very moving to see that a Labour MP, Andrew Charlton, actually used the word genocide. He never once said civil war or war. He just said genocide. And that was a first step in being able to actually speak the truth and expose what's happening. That's why this exhibition was called Truth Telling. It was a truth always wins. Truth always comes first. So, yeah.
Yeah, so exposing the truth about what happened to the Tamil people comes at a cost, right?
Yeah.
Politically, personally, and emotionally. What does truth telling mean to you in this context, and why does it matter even when those in power choose to look away?
I feel that once you keep showing the truth isn't just by through word of mouth or having those closed door meetings. Like when we as Tamils expose the truth, there needs to be clear evidence that shows that it's ongoing. We failed to explain during May that genocide is ongoing. We do have to talk about the past. We do have to remember what happened in Mulivaikal. But we have to also remember how we're able to prove justice from that. That's by showing evidence. The second with truth telling is definitely having witnesses who are able to speak. And there's this whole concept of they need to know how to speak English. Some people can't. They can't speak English very well, and they do get choked up. But we as the youth, or we as people who can speak both languages, should be able to translate and should be able to make them feel welcome to be able to tell the truth. Because at the end of the day, those eyewitnesses are so vital in providing justice. And with the truth telling, we have to be ready to have those hard discussions with politicians. We have to be willing to tell them, this is what your political party did, but we're hoping that you could be the change in this political party. You know, I'm not a fan with both major governments within Australia. I'm not a fan with it. But I know that there are individuals within each, political party that I'm able to have an open discussion with, explain it to them, and get their view. That is actually true diplomacy. Is you're not taking a side, you're able to explain everything to both sides. And what was amazing was we were able to get, all different individuals from different political parties, and they were able to actually understand what was on the wall. And truth telling, it is also a space where youth have to come forward and be able to show that, whether that be through speech, art, music. There is all forms of truth telling, and we as the Tamil diaspora have to be open to that.
So what was your takeaway from this exhibition? Obviously, sounds like an absolutely wonderful, and you've spent a great deal of time to organize the exhibition. So what was your takeaway from that event?
That this exhibition has to go everywhere. I'm wanting to make this go everywhere, and I'm wanting to show that in all parts of the world, if one youth or one person steps up and they do an exhibition that they think that shows ongoing genocide, to do it, whether that be music, through dance, through speeches, do something that shows it's ongoing, because we're always falling into the trap of showing just the past. We're not able to actually expose the definition of genocide. And with this exhibition, it was very, very important that I explained the legal definition of genocide and how we have fit into each category, and how we are able to expose that with fitting into the word genocide, we fit the case. We fit everything. That there's no war, there's no liberation war, civil war. It's just genocide. We had to fight off a genocide, and that I was able to actually show that we did achieve Tamil Eelam at one point. We had our own courts, we had our own police, but it was all taken away from us, and that's very important. That this whole the word Tamil Eelam is not just some dream to the Western society. It was actually achieved, and that's why we're asking to reclaim our land back.
Listening to you, you have spent numerous hours building the case, getting this exhibition ready. I'm going to ask you a bit of a silly question, but I do need to know this. How are the Tamils supporting you to get this truth out to the public domain, outside the Tamil's boundary, to the global audience? Because, as you say, you would like to see this go to every corner. I think that's very important, because for us to know all of this, we all know this, and you need to support. You need to get the support inside the house before you go outside. How are you getting that support?
I'm definitely getting the support from individuals who have come up to me and said, how do we get this outside? How do we stop this from being within our own community. I'm definitely getting support from individuals like that, whether they be refugees, and even some of the youth. But like in every community, you are going to be questioned on whether we are doing the correct thing or not. There were comments being thrown around that they believed that TRC was going to just take banners, and I was just going to hold 3 to 4 banners inside the Parliament House. But once the exhibition was out, a lot of people didn't realize how big it was and how important it was. But like every community, we're always going to face a group that's against us. But I think with this kind of work, I have learned to just put my head down and to work, and whoever wants to join this kind of pathway into showing ongoing genocide and to show the truth, that they're welcome to join hand in hand with me. And I've learned that that's the only way to achieve anything, is to not get so wrapped up into the politics of our community, sadly, because that's what always often makes us fail, is that we're always biting each other's tails and wanting to stop the youth. So I've actually learned in the past couple of months to just put my head down and work alongside those who are willing to let me show them what kind of path I'm trying to take. And that's how this exhibition was actually a success, was actually just me putting my head down and just working and knowing that what I was doing was correct, and getting advice from people I believe who are very open-minded in exposing the truth. And I made sure that I was with people who I respected, as well as I made sure that I spoke to those. I think that was very important, was speaking to ex-Tigers, because they were the ones who fought and they were the ones who learned a different form of liberation. So I really wanted to sit down with them and ask them, what are you wanting to get out of this exhibition? And I made sure after I had done the exhibition, I got their critiques or their comments. So the next time I do an exhibition, I know, okay, this is how I should be doing it a different way. And yeah, I think once after I got that exhibition done, people realized it was important to expose the truth like this, where the evidence, you walk into a room and the evidence is just thrown into your face.
Finally, what are the next plan that you're trying to expose even more details to the global audience?
I'm definitely wanting to get this exhibition throughout Australia done. I'm also wanting to incorporate more concepts within these visual boards. And what's amazing is I'm getting people from Tamil helping us with visually get these boards done. And they're the ones who are doing the graphics. So definitely work alongside with them and work alongside with the youth in Tamil to get some of their comments, and then see where we can go from there with the exhibition. But definitely the goal is to get this exhibition done in a more larger scale and to have more individuals attend and witness it. And so that's our plan with Tamil Refugee Council.
Thank you, Renuka. The Tamil people have never stopped seeking justice. And as long as the truth remains buried, the struggle remains alive. Remembering Mullivaikkal is not just about dwelling in the past. It's about refusing to let the world forget what happens when silence becomes complicity. Thank you so much for joining ILC Tamil Radio Behind Closed Doors. And I hope your next step gives more visibility around the globe to what has gone on. And, obviously, Tamils will not stop seeking justice until they get there. So thank you so much for your tireless effort to demonstrate what has gone on, and been fantastic advocate for many years that I have been, as I was saying on another program, I have been following you on the social media, that you've been absolutely superb. So thank you so much on behalf of ILC Tamil Radio. Let's hope to catch up another time. Thank you.
Thank you.